What's up, guys? Welcome to Podcast 412, Fight for Purity. A bold way of looking at challenges that young people are facing. We'll talk about the naked truth of life and how to handle the problems you're thinking but not talking about. So strap in, get ready for another great podcast.
This podcast episode is not considered age appropriate due to discussion of sensitive topics. Parent or guardian discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're on I forgot what season you said. 3?
4.
Oh, 4. 4. Season 4. And we were talking about Storge love. And last week we were talking about, I think for the past 2 episodes, we've been talking about a mom's love. And so we're going to continue a little bit on that. One of the things that we brought up was the whole revolution thing. So I guess I could say the sexual revolution. We haven't actually said it. But there was a lot more going on during that time. But I believe that was like a very pivotal to families. And I think what changed the dynamics of mothers. Because now you have, I think we've said this even before, I think 50% of parents now are single mothers.
Oh,
so what
statistic are you throwing out?
But I'm pretty sure I mentioned that before. I believe that
something along those lines.
Yeah, it's pretty close to where they're now. And one of the things we talked about, that's the fallout of this revolution, you know. And I mean, there's probably a lot more. Like I said, we can never really deep dive into everything because there's so much that came about, you know, like the whole liberation movement and, you know, freedom. And I think we were talking to like what people today and even back then thought about freedom. Yeah. You know, what is freedom? Some people think freedom is, well, you know, that I can do whatever I want and, you know, I'm a human being and I can just live however. But you looked up the actual definition. So share with us that definition.
So the definition of freedom, according to Wikipedia, okay, and Oxford Languages, is the power or the right to act, speak, or think as you want without hindrance or restraint. So like without anything stopping you. You can think, speak, act however you want to. So that's what freedom is. Do you want me to do the other one too?
Yeah.
And then we were talking about the difference between freedom and self-indulgence. And self-indulgence just means like you do exactly what you want to, especially when it comes to your like pleasure and your free time, your idleness. Like when you have nothing to do, you do whatever you want. Yeah. But that one's specifically for pleasure, I guess, like to make you feel better, feel good.
And I think that's kind of the difference was people didn't like, I guess, the restraints of, yeah. You know, they didn't like the fact that certain things were done. Yeah, within boundaries, within a relationship, within marriage, and if it's like, well, let us do whatever that we want, you know, let's throw off those restraints, you know, and we know what happens when you throw off restraints. Yeah. You know, like I said, that's something that we're talking about is that you throw off your restraints, and now you have 50%.
More single
mothers with no dads, and then you have no dads, you know, even involved.
Yeah.
And then
we talked about blended families. There's a lot more blended families because of either divorces or, like you said, missing fathers, people who remarry with previous kids. So like there's a lot. The family idea has changed because freedom or self-indulgence kind of freedom took over.
Was supposed freedom, what they thought was freedom. But yet, like I said, even like if you look at most statistics, I didn't look up this, but I know I've looked it up in the past. But even most of the people that are like in prison, it's because they don't have no fathers. Yeah, and so that's another like outcome or fallout, you know. And even kids that have both parents, they do better in school. They have less behavior problems. They're not as, you know, kids that don't have both parents have more problems like with drugs, alcohol, crime,
just emotionally, mentally,
depression, like all those things. We looked up all those things, you know. And like I said, under all the,
we should be free
Yeah.
to do what we want. But like you said, there's that difference between freedom and self-indulgence. Like, people don't want to be, like you said, people don't want to be told no when it comes to what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
You know, but for like, if you're older in your years, you know the things that make you feel good are not always good for you.
The later consequences of it.
Yeah.
You don't see those until later.
And then also when you think of, I guess, self-indulgence, obviously it's about you, about what makes you feel good and what you want to do in that moment. And so you don't realize you do hurt people when you do that, when you're thinking about you, what you want, and what makes you feel good. Because there's plenty of people who will play you because you're entertainment to them right now, or, you know, you're convenient right now. And so I don't think people think that far ahead of when they think of quote unquote freedom. They just think about, oh, I get to cheat, I get to yell when I'm mad, I get to just walk away because it's too hard now. I get to quit, you're thinking about, oh, I can do whatever the heck I want, but it also means everyone else has the right to do whatever the heck they want to you as well. So you can't be like surprised, like, oh my gosh. You can't be like, you know, shocked that they're
practicing their freedom
as
the same way.
their quote unquote freedom on you as well. And so that's really what I guess this, if you think of freedom as self-indulgence, it really is. You just create a very selfish
person.
Even a culture, just very selfish, and it's very it's sad, really, because nobody really thinks about each other anymore.
That's like you said. It's why, like, why dads leave. It's obviously a lot easier for dads to leave than it is for mom, because you know there's not that physical need, you know. You know, but they leave not because, you know, it's hard, but it's because they don't want to. It's not something that's going to give them pleasure to stay and father a child. You know, and moms leave too for the same reason, though, because it's hard. Like you said, it was hard, but they weren't thinking about that 9 months earlier. You know, about how it's gonna be hard later. You know, about how they might not be any support. Come 9 months later.
But you got to do what you wanted.
You got to do what you wanted in the moment.
In that moment, and like you said, you could have this partner, that partner. You could be in this relationship, that relationship, but not even think about, dude, you know, you're probably going to get pregnant. And then there comes the single.
Or even as a dad,
mom.
You're going to get someone pregnant. And there's that responsibility that's going to be thrown on you. And if you're still a teenager, you're obviously not ready for that.
And even during that time, one things I looked at was that even during that time, there was that welfare revolution. Even during then. You know, and I think it said it was enacted in 1965, and this resulted in literally trillions of dollars of federal spending through dozens of public assistance programs in the years that followed. And an unintended consequence was that it devolved into a war on fathers, because single mothers lose their benefits if they marry the fathers of their children. And this encouraged fathers to abandon their families. The current welfare state supports millions of single mothers today. And that's
the fallout of doing what you want. I think a big thing that people don't think about either, or that we don't realize when we're like that selfish, when we're being that selfish, it's always about now. It's always about now, because it's about what makes me feel good right now. Not, will this be better for me later? Will this help me later? It's, I'm upset right now. I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to deal with this right now. So
When it's at the cost of others too. So if you do get pregnant or get someone pregnant, like, that's on the kids now. So the kids also carry the burden of your quote unquote freedom of what you wanted to do, because then it doesn't stop there. I've seen a lot of moms now where they're still trying to live like this teenage single life, you know, in their 30s, 40s, and their kids are still the ones suffering. You know, they don't grow up in this loving home, and they don't know how to love others, you know, or any of that. And then even, you know, in my own situation of having the separate blended families and stuff, like, values are lost and mixed up because you have two different families who believe two different things of what's right for the kid or what's not right for the kid. And then they're caught in this whirlwind of, like, kind of, I guess, an identity crisis of like, yeah, what do I do? Like, what do I believe? What am I going to take hold of, you know? And then they're just caught in the middle, you know, as a result to
People
freedom.
doing what they want.
Yeah, and then not only that, there's some relationships where they they get pregnant and the father and the mother decide to get together, and even that sometimes is a fight because they never truly loved each other in the first place. It was just for that moment, and they're trying. I mean, at least I guess they're quote unquote trying to be there for their kid. But all that poor kid grows up with screaming and yelling the rest of their lives because they never truly loved each other.
Yeah.
They
don't
just
even know each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it works out, and that's fantastic. You know, that's great, but that's not the majority, I guess.
Yeah, and that's even statistically true.
Yeah.
It's not even just, like I said, because we said so or because our opinion, but statistically, that's how it works out, you know. And so we just see so many things. And even kind of going back to, like, the moms, you know, I believe, like, moms are so important in shaping and building, like, the foundations of morality and placing boundaries. You know, not that dads aren't, but that's so vital. You know, you think it's not important, you know, especially in our society, because I know we kind of talking, if you talk about mothers and staying home, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, you're living below. You know, you're not living below, man. You are doing something that contributes to society, like, in a big way. If you teach your daughters and your sons and you raise them up right, they're not going to go out there and get pregnant
Or make the same mistakes
make
you
the
did.
same mistakes
Yeah.
you did. And, you know, if you have a good foundation and because a mother teaches her kids like a lot. I mean, I can sit down and I can say, well, I taught my kids to read. I taught my kids, you know, boundaries. I taught them to at least, you know, like, have some self-control, to have discipline. Like, there's so many things, you know, and even just the basics, you know, like to be respectful, you know, say please, say thank, you know, just so many different things, you know, that you can't just
Disregard.
yeah, you know, it's such an important part of society, you know, because you're going to say, you know, you're going to send these kids out into society, you know, they're going to be part of society. And what we see right now is, man, you can see what we as kids. We have kids that have no boundaries. I mean, look at the crimes that are being committed. Looking at, like, everything that's going on, it's all, like, by young kids that were raised by somebody, because somebody's going to raise the kids.
Yeah. Well, it's not even just young kids. It's older people who still don't want restraint.
Yeah.
Who don't want
Who don't want to grow up.
who want to continue to be self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Like, do what they want when they want because they want it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's why, like, our society is kind of, because it's two generations of people.
Yeah.
It's the young being raised by people without boundaries who don't know how to give boundaries because they never had them.
Yeah.
And then you have the older people who just decided, I don't want to have boundaries still. So, so it's just these two groups of people just doing
And
what they want.
And then when you think about it, like, you know, when you think about the sexual revolution, it really was started by the women. The women were the ones that said, let's
Cast off.
cast off our restraints, you know, let's
Yeah.
burn our, you know, our clothes, whatever. You know, but think about the impact that had, just women in general. And yet, like I said, we see so much today, the fallout of that, you know. And we're still seeing it, like you said. We're still...
Well, it's that lack of Storge love. It's like you said, because Storge love, like we've been talking about, has boundaries. Yeah, like, it needs boundaries in order for it to work, and it needs boundaries on both sides, from your mom and your dad. You know, from the people raising you. Like, you need it on both sides, from a father and a mother, because with one, it's always going to be unbalanced. Because, like, we've talked about it before, like what dads offer for kids and what moms offer for kids as far as, like, your development. You know, and if you're missing one, then obviously you're going to be slightly imbalanced as you get older.
Because they balance each other out, having mom and having dad, you know. But I thought it was interesting. It was the women that were the ones, because I think back in those days, if I'm correct, the men had more respect and treated women with more honor because of the restraints, because of the boundaries that were there previously. And once they cast off all those restraints, then that was gone. And so even today you see that men don't respect
Well, it's
women. Yeah.
like how do you like work for something or want to work for something or work towards something when it's just easily thrown at you?
Yeah.
Why work for something when you know you can get it for free?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny is that they wanted freedom and they wanted, yet now, I mean, you don't even have that same value. I mean, you can't even define what a woman is. Like, what's the, now there's like, you don't even,
Well, it's because just all
yet
those.
they fought for all this, and yet now it's like, well, who are you fighting for now? If we can't even define who a woman is.
Well, it's like we said, all those boundaries disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, the boundaries are gone in so many ways, and that has affected how people interact with each other because their boundaries were taken away.
Yeah, well, it affected, like I said, it affected the families. It affected the kids. It affected, like, the young people. It affected, like, I think it just, even music, like how music is, like everything. And who knows, like, financially, the workforce. And then, maybe there were some, like, positive, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think before that, like, women couldn't really work,
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like, they're, yeah. It's just,
I guess I think we're referring more to the sexual part of the revolution more versus the women's rights revolution.
Yeah, because that was around the same. I think all those things were.
Yeah, the two. Yeah, the women's rights was needed to happen. We're not cattle. We're not dumb or anything. We can go to college and all that.
You're on point with that. Yeah. So, so freedom isn't just.
freedom isn't self-indulgence.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have freedom, but you just, like, forget that anybody has the freedom to do whatever they want. Like, she was making a joke earlier saying, like, I have the freedom to punch you in the face right now. Like, like just remember that if you want to be self-indulgent, everybody else gets to be too. If you don't want boundaries, nobody else is going to have them either. So just, like, remember that, like, when you're interacting with people and when you're thinking about love too, the way you love people is how you're going to be loved. If you love people in the moment and that's it, that's all you're going to get in return. If you love long term, you'll get long term love back eventually.
And even, like, defining what real love is. I mean, we're doing that, like, in pieces, I think, And even, I know this, you said this, I think you guys said it in a podcast, just even how people treat you when you have boundaries. Even in your morality, you see how the guys treat girls that don't have boundaries. Or
Versus
have
the girls who
very
do.
little boundaries, and how they treat girls that do have boundaries. They're not disrespect. If anything, they're more protective of you, and they treat you differently. Because the other girls, they just talk about and, you guys know. So there's a difference, and it matters. It matters. Those restraints are there. Those boundaries are there for a reason, So.
Well, it seems like you have more freedom too, because if you picture it, like, every time you're doing something, like, you punch someone in the face, depending on how old you are, there's gonna be consequences for it. But just because you felt like it, or even it's like you're putting, like, chains on yourself, you're, like, putting all these different chains, like, maybe you don't feel them right away, maybe it's like, oh, it's just a little bit of baggage, but eventually it like all weighs down on you, and then you get to an age where it's like, how did I get here? Like, what did I do? Like, how did I get to this point? I even had that in my early 20s of just what I did in my teen years. Like, what the heck? Like, how did I even get here? And so it was more bondage than it was freedom.
And I think nowadays it's rights. I have a right for this. I have a right for that. But when you really dig deeper, it's really a morality issue. It's about, let me just do what I want. Let me... And not feel guilty, not feel bad, let me just,
Well, even expressing emotion, like, even, like, blowing up on someone, or it's because I feel this way, I need to express how I feel. Like, there's no, like...
And there's some people who excuse that. They're like, oh, I'm just blunt. That's just who I am.
I'm
like, passionate.
No.
I'm like, whatever, bro.
What trips me out though about people like that who say they're blunt, just take it. I'm like, but when people are blunt with you,
They don't like it.
you don't take
Yeah.
it. You don't take it the same way. So it's like, it's freedom. Freedom is both ways. It comes at you the same way you give it. So you can't like if you blow up on somebody, someone's gonna blow up on you, and you're just gonna have to take it because you wanted them to take it from you.
Yeah. It's not like, can't you be understanding? Or, like, no. You're blowing up on me first.
Yes. So the conclusion, I guess, you can kind of come to, at least at this point, is that it is much healthier, much more beneficial to have both parents, to have that Storge love from both of your parents, and not just one. And and one of the things we've said a few times is that we did our boundaries podcast in the beginning, and it all plays into this, like in so many ways, so we're gonna move on next week and talk about the next
Stage.
no, the next well, no, the
Category?
the next category of
category.
Storge love would be probably siblings,
Siblings.
so, or children, because even that changes the dynamics of a home, having a child and then having another child and then having more children. No. But that changes the dynamics, but that's another place that
Can get that Storge
they can
love.
get that Storge love. And that's the whole thing, is that we're talking about love, that you're supposed to receive love, and that love's supposed to be cultivated by both parents,
By your family
by
first.
your family first, because that's where you're going to learn it, is
First.
This is what love
yeah,
looks like.
Yeah.
either through a father, through a mom, or lack of
Yeah.
a mom.
Yeah.
So
I know if you're a single mom, or you were raised by a single mom or a single dad, we're not, dogging on you or
Yeah.
anything.
no,
Oh, of course
we're
not.
not saying it. But it's just
Understanding that
Understanding.
there's going to be an imbalance, and we've got to find ways to
How to
balance
deal
it
with
back
that.
out.
yeah.
Like somehow, some way, even if you are a single mom.
Well,
like,
I mean,
there's-
just even going back to the beginning, God created man and woman. That's just, man and woman, and there was a reason why God created two, for the purpose of building a healthy family. Yeah, that's the best. I mean, like I said, we're not just saying, like I said, our opinions, but you can look pretty much at any statistic that talks about kids with two parents are more stable, like I said, mentally, psychologically, even financially. They're more, they have more money. So in every way, pretty much, it's, unless you have a dysfunctional family, but
that's a different story. Yeah.
that's another story.
That's still a Storge love issue, but
But yeah, that's where you experience. So we're talking about Storge love. So we're going to continue, and then next week we're going to start on the sibling. But just letting you guys know that, both parents are important, and both of them are vital to the child. So,
to you,
And
not even to the child, just you.
yeah.
Even.
And if you are a single parent, to make sure you build a relationship with your child. I think that's really important, because my dad wasn't really around, but like if my mom would have just built a relationship with me and not focused on trying to find another man, yeah, that would have made all the difference. So if you're a parent, like, and you're watching, just build that relationship with your kid and start there, of like making sure that you're present, you're a present parent. And you're raising someone up to be in society. They're not just like your baby forever, with your mom, that you're trying to build someone up to be a part of society one day. And
and just understanding what present means. It's hard to be present. It's hard to be like one-on-one, and because you have to put aside, your own desires, pleasures, or whatever, or because it is hard. So but it can be done. It can be done, and we believe, yes. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you. Oh, not next week, but.
Thanks for listening. Join us for our next podcast. You can contact us through Instagram at podcast412 or email us at 412fight@gmail.com. See you next time.